Om Namo Bhagavate Shri Ramakrishna. Letters of Swami Vivekananda. Letter number 47, Chicago, 20th June 1894. Dear Divanji Sahib, letter number 47. Your very kind note came today. I am so sorry that I could have caused pain to such a noble heart as yours with my rash and strong words. I bow down to your mild corrections. Thy son am I, teach me thus, boy. Gita. But you well know, Divanji Sahib, it was my love that prompted me to say so. The backbiters, I must tell you, have not indirectly benefited me. On the other hand, they have injured me immensely in view of the fact that our Hindu people did not move a finger to tell the Americans that I represented them. Had our people sent some words thanking the American people for their kindness to me and stating that I was representing them, Mr. Mazumdar and a man called Nagarkar from Bombay and a Christian girl called Sarabai from Pune have been telling the American people that I have donned the sannyasin's garb only in America and that I was a cheat, bare and simple. So far as reception goes, it has no effect on the American nation, but so far as helping me with funds goes, it has a terrible effect in making them take off their helping hands from me. And it is 1 year since I have been here, and not one man of note from India has thought it fit to make the Americans know that I am no cheat. There again the missionaries are always seeking for something against me, and they are busy picking up anything said against me by the Christian papers of India and publishing it here. Now you must know that the people here know very little of the distinction in India between the Christian and the Hindu. Primarily, my coming has been to raise funds for an enterprise of my own. Let me tell it all to you again. The whole difference between the West and the East is in this. They are nations, we are not. That is civilization. Education here is general. It penetrates into the masses. The higher classes in India and America are the same, but the distance is infinite between the lower classes of the two countries. Why was it so easy for the English to conquer India? It was because they are a nation, we are not. When one of our great men dies, we must sit for centuries to have another. They can produce them as fast as they die. When our Divanji Sahib will pass away, which the Lord may delay long for the good of my country, the nation will see the difficulty at once of filling his place, which is seen even now in the fact that they cannot dispense with your services. It is the dearth of great ones. Why so? Because they have such a bigger field of recruiting their great ones. We have so small. A nation of 300 millions has the smallest field of recruiting its great ones. Compare with nations of 30, 40 or 60 millions. Because the number of educated men and women in those nations is so great. Now, do not mistake me, my kind friend. This is the great defect in our nation and must be removed. Educate and raise the masses, and thus alone our nation is possible. Our reformers do not see where the wound is. They want to save the nation by marrying the widows. Do you think that a nation is saved by the number of husbands its widows get? Nor is our religion to blame, for an idol more or less makes no difference. The whole defect is here. The real nation who lives in cottages have forgotten their manhood, their individuality, trodden under the foot of the Hindu, Mussulman or Christian. They have come to think that they are born to be trodden under the foot of everybody who has money enough in his pocket. They are to be given back their lost individuality. They are to be educated. Whether idols will remain or not, whether widows will have husbands enough or not, whether caste is good or bad, I do not bother myself with such questions. Everyone must work out his own salvation. Our duty is to put the chemicals together. The crystallization will come through God's laws. Let us put ideas into the heads and they will do the rest. Now this means educating the masses. Here are these difficulties. A pauper government will not do anything, so no help from that quarter. Even supposing we are in a position to open schools in each village free, still the poor boys would rather go to the plough to earn their living than come to your school. Neither have we the money, nor can we make them come to education. The problem seems hopeless. I have found a way out. It is this: if the mountain does not come to Muhammad, Muhammad must go to the mountain. If the poor cannot come to education, education must reach them at the plough, in the factory, everywhere. How? You have seen my brethren. Now I can get hundreds of such all over India, unselfish, good and educated. Let these men go from village to village, bringing not only religion to the door of everyone, but also education. So I have a nucleus of organizing the widows also as instructors to our women. Now suppose the villagers after their day's work have come to the village and sitting under a tree or somewhere are smoking and talking the time away. Suppose two of these educated sannyasins get hold of them there and with a camera throw astronomical or other pictures, scenes from different nations, histories, etc. Thus with globes, maps, etc. and all this orally. How much can be done that way, Divanji? It is not that the eye is the only door of knowledge. The ear can do all the same, so they would have ideas and morality and hope for better. Here our work ends. Let them do the rest. What would make the sannyasins do the sacrifice, undertake such a task? Religious enthusiasm. Every new religious wave requires a new center. The old religion can only be revivified by a new center. Hang your dogmas or doctrines, they never pay. It is a character, a life, a center, a God-man that must lead the way, that must be the center round which all other elements will father themselves and then fall like a tidal wave upon the society, carrying all before it, washing away all impurities. Again, a piece of wood can only easily be cut along the grain, so the old Hinduism can only be reformed through Hinduism and not through the newfangled reform movements. At the same time, the reformers must be able to unite in themselves the culture of both the East and the West. Now, do you not think that you have already seen the nucleus of such a great movement, that you have heard the low rumblings of the coming tidal wave? That center, that God-man to lead was born in India. He was the great Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, and round him this band is slowly gathering. They will do the work. Now, Divanji Maharaj, this requires an organization, money, a little at least to set the wheel in motion. Who would have given us money in India? So, Divanji Maharaj, I crossed over to America. You may remember I begged all the money from the poor, and the offers of the rich I would not accept because they could not understand my ideas. Now, lecturing for a year in this country, I could not succeed at all. Of course, I have no wants for myself. In my plan for raising some funds for setting up my work, first, this year is a very bad year in America. Thousands of the poor are without work. Secondly, the missionaries and the try to thwart all my views. Thirdly, a year has rolled by and our countrymen could not even do so much for me as to say to the American people that I was a real sannyasin and no cheat, and that I represented the Hindu religion. Even this much, the expenditure of a few words, they could not do. Bravo, my countrymen, I love them. Divanji Sahib, human help I spurn with my foot. He who has been with me through hills and dales, through deserts or forests, will be with me, I hope. If not, some heroic soul would arise some time or other in India, far abler than myself, and carry it out. so I have told you all about it. Divanji, excuse my long letter, my noble friend, one of the few who really feel for me, have real kindness for me. You are at liberty, my friend, to think that I am a dreamer, a visionary, but believe at least that I am sincere to the backbone, and my greatest fault is that I love my country only too well. May you and yours be blessed ever and ever. My noble friend, may the shadow of the Almighty ever rest on all those you love. I offer my eternal gratitude to you. My debt to you is immense, not only because you are my friend, but also because you have all your life served the Lord and your motherland so well. Ever yours in gratitude, Vivekananda. Letter number 48. Chicago, 23rd June 1894. Your Highness, return to His Highness the Maharaja of Mysore. Shri Narayana bless you and yours. Through your Highness' kind help, it has been possible for me to come to this country. Since then I have become well known here, and the hospitable people of this country have supplied all my wants. It is a wonderful country, and this is a wonderful nation in many respects. No other nation applies so much machinery in their everyday work as do the people of this country. Everything is machine. Then again, they are only 1/20th of the whole population of the world, yet they have fully 1/6 of all the wealth of the world. There is no limit to their wealth and luxuries, yet everything here is so dear. The wages of labor are the highest in the world, yet the fight between labor and capital is constant. Nowhere on earth have women so many privileges as in America. They are slowly taking everything into their hands, and strange to say, the number of cultured women is much greater than that of cultured men. Of course, the higher geniuses are mostly from the rank of males. With all the criticism of the Westerners against our caste, they have a worse one, that of money. The almighty dollar, as the Americans say, can do anything here. No country on earth has so many laws, and in no country are they so little regarded. On the whole, our poor Hindu people are infinitely more moral than any of the Westerners. In religion, they practice either hypocrisy or fanaticism. Sober-minded men have become disgusted with their superstitious religions and are looking forward to India for new light. Your Highness cannot realize without seeing how eagerly they take in any little bit of the grand thoughts of the holy Vedas, which resist and are unharmed by the terrible onslaughts of modern science. The theories of creation out of nothing, of a created soul, and of the big torrent of a God sitting on a throne in a place called heaven, and of the eternal hellfires have disgusted all the educated. And the noble thoughts of the Vedas about the eternity of creation and of the soul and about the God in our own soul, they are imbibing fast in one shape or other. Within 50 years, the educated of the world will come to believe in the eternity of both soul and creation, and in God as our highest and perfect nature, as taught in our holy Vedas. Even now, the learned priests are interpreting the Bible that way. My conclusion is that they require more spiritual civilization and we more material. The one thing that is at the root of all evils in India is the condition of the poor. The poor in the West are devils. Compared with them, ours are angels, and it is therefore so much the easier to raise our poor. The only service to be done for our lower classes is to give them education, to develop their lost individuality. That is the great task between our people and princes. Up to now, nothing has been done in that direction. Priest power and foreign conquest have trodden them down for centuries, and at last the poor of India have forgotten that they are human beings. They are to be given ideas. Their eyes are to be opened to what is going on in the world around them, and then they will work out their own salvation. Every nation, every man, every woman must work out one's own salvation. Give them ideas. That is the only help they require, and then the rest must follow as the effect. Ours is to put the chemicals together. The crystallization comes in the law of nature. Our duty is to put ideas into their heads. They will do the rest. This is what is to be done in India. It is this idea that has been in my mind for a long time. I could not accomplish it in India, and that was the reason of my coming to this country. The great difficulty in the way of educating the poor is this. Supposing even your Highness opens a free school in every village, still it would do no good, for the poverty in India is such that the poor boys would rather go to help their fathers in the fields, or otherwise try to make a living than come to the school. Now, if the mountain does not come to Muhammad, Muhammad must go to the mountain. If the poor boy cannot come to education, education must go to him. There are thousands of single-minded, self-sacrificing sannyasins in our own country, going from village to village teaching religion. If some of them can be organized as teachers of secular things also, they will go from place to place, from door to door, not only preaching but teaching also. Suppose two of these men go to a village in the evening with a camera, a globe, some maps, etc. They can teach a great deal of astronomy and geography to the ignorant. By telling stories about different nations, they can give the poor 100 times more information through the ear than they can get in a lifetime through books. This requires an organization, which again means money. Men enough there are in India to work out this plan, but alas, they have no money. It is very difficult to set a wheel in motion, but when once set, it goes on with increasing velocity. After seeking help in my own country and failing to get any sympathy from the rich, I came over to this country through your Highness' aid. The Americans do not care a bit whether the poor of India die or live. And why should they, when our own people never think of anything but their own selfish ends? My noble prince, this life is short. The vanities of the world are transient, but they alone live who live for others. The rest are more dead than alive. One such high, noble-minded and royal son of India as your Highness can do much towards raising India on her feet again, and thus leave a name to posterity which shall be worshipped, that the Lord may make your noble heart feel intensely for the suffering millions of India sunk in ignorance, is the prayer of Vivekananda. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat. Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.